nowadays, phones are also our calculators and our notepads, our cookbooks, our, vision boards. There's so much that we do on phones, our calculators. It's multi-use now. And that also increases the dependency on our cell phones. Notifications also are something that keep us hooked, even neurobiologically, to our phones, because when we get a ping, when we feel a vibrate, how many times have you been in a room and you hear the ding that the iPhone does, and everybody looks up and starts feeling? It's literally, we have all been conditioned. That is Pavlov's bell. We are all conditioned to believe and to remember, that a vibration, a ding, a little swoop on the top of the iPhone means, hey, it's time. Somebody wants to connect with me. Somebody is trying to connect with me. Somebody likes something that I did. Somebody's engaging with me. And that's all positive reward in our brain. That's shooting up our reward system. It's shooting up our dopamine, our serotonin, those feel-good neurotransmitters and hormones in our body. And eventually, right, speaking of conditioning, eventually we associate the device itself with those same pleasures, those same rewards. So I'm saying that to say that there is so much more going on than just, I can't get off Facebook. I can't even tell you the last time, like subconsciously, it's literally ingrained. I've had to take plenty of social media fasts, and I always know that it's time for me to take one. Have you ever opened your phone and you forget what you're there for, and then you just like are on some app or on something like, why did I grab this? That happens to me all the time. I have opened up my phone to like use the calculator, and I'm just on Instagram. Like, how did I get here? It's subconscious. It's literal muscle memory, and that happens to people in real life too. Sometimes I walk into the kitchen and I'm like, what did I want to eat? Like, why did I come here? These things happened, and it is a representation of the mental map in our mind, and again, the muscle memory in our bodies. So again, considering what these notifications do and how validating they are, there is a sense of FOMO. Otherwise, that's also why we get anxious when we lose our phones, or we leave our phones somewhere. I know a lot of people, and there's no shame, but I know there are so many people who will, walk outside and be like, oh my God, I forgot my phone. I have to go back in and get it. Why? Why do we need to go back in and get our phones? Again, to the start of the video, because there has become this neurobiological, not let alone social and cultural dependence on those things, where if we are without our phones, we can feel like we're without our oxygen or without our clothes. Even speaking of socializing, a lot of people, back in the day, if you felt awkward, you would twiddle your hair. You could, I don't know, maybe start writing or something. Nowadays, the phone is also, because it's such a great distraction, it's a way to be somewhere, to be in a place and not have to be present. So let me not even get into like the escapism of it as well, because at any point we can open our phones, especially through social media, and be in another place at another time. There's so many layers. Like, this wasn't even on my notes, but it's so important to consider, because again, these are things that are happening subconsciously. So if I'm finding myself as somebody who goes to social media all the time to get out of a stressful situation, when I'm unhappy with where I am physically at the time, then I need to start raising my consciousness, right? Raising that self-awareness to notice that what the dependency looks like. Because there are different types of dependency. There is the escapism, there is the socializing, the FOMO, the validation. So determining, number one, what type of addiction, or not addiction, but relationship you have will be very beneficial for you. Let's talk about how, right? How we can start to detox and break our addiction from social media. So with all of those things being said, self-awareness is not something that like I wouldn't say that you should stop immediately unless you feel like you're there, but I think it's more important to stop once you know what's happening, what your relationship with social media looks like, so you're not just like blindly stopping and not growing and learning from it. So if you are realizing that you have FOMO, then when you stop social media, perhaps you can replace, when you do feel like, oh my God, I might be missing out on something, you recognize that trigger and replace it with something more healthy or appropriate, or just something else. Like, I'm going to text my friends instead of getting on social media for this week. I'm going to text my friends, and when I feel like, they might be doing something that's more fun or something without me. And that's a healthy and great practice to have, because again, before social media, people just spoke to each other in real life, in person, on the phone, like this, in the crib. That's how it used to be, direct person to person contact. And again, not that there's anything wrong with the kind of extra distance that social media places between, but it's also just really beneficial to talk directly to somebody and sustain the relationships in your life that way. So the most important idea of taking a break or taking a fast is not necessarily always going cold turkey, right? You don't have to be one of those person who jumps online and says, hey y'all, I'm gonna be on social media for the next 4 weeks, like I'll see you then, wish me luck. Not that I judge those people, but like, it doesn't have to be that way. I think that deters a lot of people from moderating their usage. But what is important is, just like I said, moderation. So if I'm somebody who gets on social media 20 times a day, right? Whether that be Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. If I'm somebody who gets on 20 times a day, going cold turkey, quitting cold turkey would be very difficult for me. I can start with moderation, whereas, okay, Instagram, iPhones have like screen time now, where you can see how long you've been using an app. Maybe you can cut the amount of time that you're on per day from 3 hours to 1.5 hours, or maybe even if that is a bit, of a challenge, 30-minute increments, right? Of trying to do less engagement, or less, just less mindless scrolling, because that's also how that time builds up, is you're just scrolling, right? And again, speaking to neurobiology and engineering, these apps, why do you think the first thing that they do is mess up your sense of time? That's why there's no chronological order anymore. They don't want you to feel like you've ever seen it all, right? If there is a constant infinite scroll, then you're likely to stay on longer. And now, I remember even a few months ago, they started showing you videos immediately after. Like, they don't even give you a second between. They'll just show you new ones. And next thing you know, you blink and it's 3 a.m. because you've been scrolling for 3.5 hours in your bed, right? And that's the importance of mindful scrolling, mindful social media use. Understand, keep a track of time. How long have you been on there? Use those apps. Use the apps themselves, a lot of social media apps themselves, as well as, gauge the time on yourself. Perhaps even literally set a timer of, I'm just going to scroll for an hour and then I'm going to go to sleep. That's so useful and beneficial for you to draw boundaries. And it doesn't even have to be limited to that either. You can also, I listened to somebody on the Breakfast Club. This was, again, years ago when I wrote this video. I listened to somebody on the Breakfast Club talking about setting business hours, right? So like, I'm talking about this because it relates to me too. Like I said, I noticed I was addicted and realized that I had to take breaks and detox. And setting business hours, like waking up first thing in the morning and looking at your phone, checking social media, is not the best way to start your day. It's not the best way to start your day. And I'm trying to say that without judgment and without like, condemnation towards the way that anybody's, because there are great things on social media. Social media has great purpose and great opportunities, but literally when you open your eyes and start scrolling, it's not, I'll say it's not a very great way to start your day grounded and present and mindful, right? Because so much of social media scrolling is mindless and subconscious, and it's an algorithm. It's literally feeding you, and we have control of what we can like and what we can see, but it's just immediately starting on somebody else's agenda, and I do not recommend that. So an alternative would be, okay, I think Charlamagne said like the first hour of his day, when he wakes up, for the first hour, he does not get on his phone at all. And that's a challenge too, but at least social media, unless you're like a business account or something, and even then you can still set business hours so that you can get the crust out your eyes and and thank God for a new day before you start responding to customers or posting reels. Setting those business hours or operating hours, even if you're not a business, like as a casual person, is also very beneficial. And it can be the same way for night. I've worked, you guys know I'm a therapist. I have worked with clients who have problems sleeping, which is a common thing. And the first thing I tell them or ask them is, what does your night routine look like? Are you on your phone scrolling? It doesn't matter if your brightness is all the way down. It doesn't matter if you switch to night mode and then the lighting is orange. Being on your phone, it's still activating your brain, right? It's still shooting up your dopamine, your reward system. And without that constant stimulation, that's why taking breaks are so hard, because when you do stop that constant stimulation, that's when the FOMO comes, right? That's when you feel like you're missing out on something, and you start to question what it feels, what life is really, or what things are without that validation. I've been there. I've been to the point where like I was like, damn, it's like I can't do anything without posting it to my story. Did it happen if I didn't post it, if I didn't share it with the world? And it does. It is happening. It's happening to you. And back in the day, we didn't have pick cameras in our pockets, computers in our pockets to take a picture and share with everybody who knows us. You would just live in that moment and appreciate it for what it was at the time. And it's both are beneficial, both are so useful, but there can be balance between the two. Let's see, what else did I put here? So, and that being said too, you can also moderate. So starting off small, right? With maybe I reduce how many minutes I'm on social media to, maybe I reduce how many hours, or maybe I only get on social media from 9 to 5 or from 5 to 7. You can always expand. Maybe I'll take a week off, or maybe this week I'll only do 2 hours. Maybe I'll skip a month, or maybe this month I'll only get on in the morning. Like there's plenty of ways that we can moderate, hiccup. Plenty of ways that we can moderate our engagement on social media. Now, my final topic, and this is, I think, the most important, because I don't believe that social media is inherently evil. I think social media is such a cool place. That's why, and just like we were speaking to earlier, what's your relationship with social media? Then, so you can determine the nature of your dependency, the nature of your, addiction, if that is what you have. I know I've done, my work in realizing that mine is inspirational and motivational, where if I have different pages. You guys know I like pole dance and do floor work. If I get on my pole page and I see people pole dancing, I feel inspired to go dance. I feel inspired to go stretch. I feel inspired to go work out. If I get on my regular page, like my artist page, and I see people's painting, I feel inspired to go paint. I want to create something. I have new ideas. So my dependence is on like ingenuity or whatever. Myra, it's all about who you follow. It's going to be negative or positive. Exactly. And that is exactly is the point. You do not have to cut off social media. You just need to detox it. You need to purge and be aware of, be mindful of the things that make you feel shitty, right? I, a long time ago, stopped following. I have a love-hate relationship with the Shade Room. I was following the Shade Room because they had the tea, and like it was, they posted funny things, like they posted news, and from a perspective that I appreciate, that of the Black lens, because I identify as a Black woman. Now, that being said, I also realized, like, I began to notice that I would was also feeling shitty, right? In comparison to a lot of the aesthetics that they share there, right? They are constantly posting Fashion Nova models and bikini models and all types of, basically the women with the same facial structure, the same highlight and contour, and the same, snatched waist, curvy Coke bottle thing. Like every woman that they were posting looked the same, and I noticed that I was getting triggered of like, oh my god, like I'm so fat, my hair is so kinky, oh, I need a wig, I want, maybe my cheekbones are too low, right? These types of thoughts are harming. It's self-harm to subject yourself to these types of things, and voluntarily, right? And that's why we need to be mindful of how we're using it. If I scroll past something and it upsets me, it depresses me, it makes me feel bad about who I am, it frustrates me, I don't agree with it, I can hit unfollow. You can unfollow, you guys, and replace it. Not just like unfollow, but it's helpful to replace it with something that is a healthier version of that, right? So I unfollowed the Shade Room and followed I forget what it's called, but it's like it's like the Shade Room, but it's like Black owned businesses and like news and like marriage proposals and actual people, like families, there's all types of body shapes and representation, all types of skin tones, all types of face bone structures, and that makes me, I feel good when I look at those people. I feel seen, I feel represented. So you want to do the same thing. Speaking to, even a different situation, right? Because it's not all just about aesthetics and beauty and body image, although I think Instagram especially is a pretty big vehicle for those types of issues. Even like, you guys know I'm a traveler. I spent like a year doing travel vlogs while I was living in Spain. I went to like 8 different countries. I followed a lot of travel like content creators at that time, and when I came back and started working, I found myself getting frustrated. I was getting so frustrated by like people who were still in the Maldives and like going to Bali, and people who were on beaches and climbing the Great Wall of China while I was taking the bus to work every day. It went from something that inspired me to something that frustrated me, something that made me feel jealous and envious, right? Something that made me feel dissatisfied with my life. Is this necessarily toxic content? No, but I knew how it made me feel, and I had to start unfollowing those people, right? And it's not personal. Social media shouldn't be personal, and I know we put so much weight on it nowadays. It still blows my mind that like Kim Kardashian unfollowed Kanye would be a a literal news headline. Like, so literally unfollow things that don't make you feel good. Don't second guess, don't question. Unfollow those things, and again, replace them with something that is helpful for you. I say this to everybody. Use social media as your vision board, right? So not something to the extent of it's making you jealous, it's making you envious, right? You don't want to tease yourself that much, but just a little motivation. Right now, if you log onto my page, you'll find mental health posts, spirituality posts. Like if you go down my timeline, yoga instructors, people, art, like I mentioned, artists, people who teach you like how to buy homes, how to not financial repair, because my credit's A1, okay? Team excellent. But people who teach you what a mortgage is, and like the real estate professionals, the trading professionals, like make make the content that you see what needs to push you and inspire you in your life, right? And also funny stuff. I love a good meme. Like, and that's my problem too. That's when I spend most of the night scrolling. I'm just cackling in my bed because I found out the funny part of Instagram. But just saying these things to say, curate your social media like you want to curate your life, right? Ask yourself right now, what is it that I want to see more of in my life? Is it money? Is it like beauty? Is it aesthetics? Like, is it, traveling? Is it healthy eating? Maybe you're working on handstands and you want to be stronger. Follow accounts that push those types of things, right? Follow people who are doing those types of things, because look, don't let me get too deep, but everything in life is energy. And once you seek and put out the energy that you want, the universe has no choice but to meet you with that energy. It's physics. It is physics. So change, I'm telling you, change things, delete things that make you feel bad, and more positively and healthily engage in social media, and you'll probably find that the dependency and the addiction that you do have isn't even as problematic. So I am done chatting. Thank you guys for coming and talking with me. Y'all, I literally wrote that in I think I wrote that in 2019. I just didn't have time to actually come do it, but I really appreciate y'all. And I'll be posting this to my whatever. I'm posting this on YouTube. And yeah, if you guys want more content from me, please, like, share, comment, like, engage with me. Another part of why I don't do YouTube is because it's really disheartening to work so hard on content and see it do nothing. So share your girl, and also talk to me. Like, I'm on Instagram, I'm very active there, 38 karat gold, just like my name here. If you have a topic you want me to talk about, slide in my DMs, tell me. I answer DMs. I'm not famous, y'all. I just be here. I hope y'all have a beautiful day. And I hope you use your phones and your social media mindfully. Oh, that's so funny, Myra. I'm a therapist. I am a therapist. I'm glad that you're still getting the vibes. But yeah, I'll catch you guys another time. Probably I'll be doing more lives like this because it's less work than having to actually edit the video. And yeah, I'll see y'all next time somewhere on the internet. Bye.